Hey, this is John. I'm going to recap some of what I'm trying to do with the videos here on the stroke videos. I'm trying to learn to make videos, and so this stroke series is certainly not the be all and end all, but it is my effort of trying to learn to make YouTube videos and to learn some skills. And one of the things I want to make sure I make clear at the beginning of this video is that I'm going to be dealing with suicide and depression a good bit. And what I want you to know is I am not medically trained and I am not a mental health professional, but I am a person who has had some experience with depression through the years, and I would like for you to be clear that I am not giving advice, medical advice, or mental health advice in any way, form, or fashion. I want to recap what I'm trying to do in this stroke series. The first thing is I spent the first video explaining to you the circumstances of my stroke and stressing the importance of having an advocate, somebody who knows you in the hospital. My second video was about humor and how humor has helped me through a lot of the difficulties of my stroke. The third video I posted while I was on vacation because it reminded me of how vital it is to receive rest. And I think part of my being in a coma after my stroke was my brain taking time to kind of reformulate itself. And one of the things that we learn in strokes is that all of us the human brain has neuroplasticity, which means that it rewires and reworks and reforms itself to adjust to new circumstances. And during the video on rest and recuperation, I wanted to make sure you understand how vital I think it is to have not only good sleep hygiene, which gives you rest every 24-hour period, but also have an extended getaway from your work so that you can revitalize and enjoy vacation. And in this video, I wanted to talk about my struggle with depression and how my stroke affected my depression and how I've dealt with it. First of all, I want you to understand that while I was in the hospital, I received mental health mental health help, and I got back on an antidepressant that I'd been off of for a long time. And I certainly do endorse mental health professionals, and I have been myself a beneficiary of good mental health drugs, and I'm currently taking an antidepressant, and I started back taking an antidepressant after my stroke and an episode of depression. So please take those things into account as I try to go over some of the importance of mental health in stroke recovery and in thriving after a stroke. The first thing I want to say is when I had a stroke, I was a guy who had had significant mental health challenges before. I've actually been hospitalized for depression before. And so when I began to come to after having a stroke, I realized that somewhere out there I was probably going to have a struggle with depression. And sure enough, by the end of the year last year, I started having some real trouble. It seems that as my awareness became larger, I realized more acutely that my world had become smaller. In fact, I was feeling as if my total world was the dimensions of my hospital bed. And remember that after I came home from the hospital and received home health care, I was still flat on my back and could not walk a step and was very limited in my ability to communicate. I know I sound pretty bad right now, but remember, until just a couple of months ago, I could only whisper. And so it was very difficult for me to make a sound. Half of my vocal cords are not available to me. And so I have to work the ones that I have a lot more. And so as I, pardon me, as I became more aware of my life and its limitations, I really got down and discouraged, and especially after I couldn't have physical therapy because of my ongoing urinary tract infections. I got very discouraged and thought I was never going to actually get to have physical therapy. And so I got discouraged. Pardon me. So I went into a bit of a tailspin, and we had to up my medication, my antidepressant medication. But I also had to be hospitalized. And when I got into the hospital, something kind of funny happened. Someone was admitting me, and the person admitting me said, "Do you see things that other people don't see?" Well, I've had a stroke, but I'm not stupid. I know what the answer to that question, the only answer to that question that would have been received well, is no, I don't see anything that other people don't see. Although growing up in Mississippi, I believed in haints, and I believe God talked directly to you. And so if anybody ever asks you, do you see things other people don't see? You say, not a chance. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. But they were trying to take seriously my mental health, and I appreciate the efforts. Although I tell you, I couldn't resist being a bit of a devil and say, when someone asked me, do you see things other people don't see? I looked very seriously at him, and I said, I see dead people. Well, I thought that was funny. I was quoting from the movie The Sixth Sense, but they didn't think it was too funny. And what I realized after I got home, I was put on suicide watch, and I had somebody sitting outside my room, and they were just making sure I did not harm myself. And I told my wife, I said, have you noticed those sweet people that are sitting right outside the door? And she said, yes, they're here for you. And I realized I was dealing with something very serious. And so I didn't make a lot of jokes about that afterwards. But after the first of the year, I was talking to one of my friends, and I was realizing I was having to spend so much energy and so much of my resources on someone to sit with me during the time that my wife was at work. And I realized what I need to do is prove to people that I am serious about taking responsibility for my own life. And as I did that, and as I assured people that I was in a better frame of mind and I was not nearly as discouraged and depressed as I'd been earlier. And slowly by slowly, we weaned away from having to have a sitter with me so that I was never alone. And I proved to people, I realized it was my responsibility to let people understand that I was in a healthy frame of mind. And so that was a part of my recovery. And so what I wanted to do is talk to you next week about a sense of purpose and what it is to have something really to live for. And so we're going to talk about a sense of purpose next week. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.